I want to thank all of you for coming out and taking a look at the presentation that Rock and I put together about the step-by-step 90-day plan to freedom. I think that this is a pretty exciting opportunity for everybody. I do appreciate the time that you've spent and the dedication that you have committed to in order to improve yourself, not only in the area of real estate, but in other areas of your life, because it's commitments like this that are going to change your life. Now, if you're able to dream about money coming to you, then you're well on your way to achieving some of the goals that you've set for yourself. Part of what we're going to be talking about today and this evening is the ability to be able to draw money into you and then stockpile that money. What we're looking for is, what would your life look like if you had more money coming into the household on a weekly and monthly basis? How would your life improve? Would your stress go down? Would your personal relationships go up? Would your ability to communicate increase? Would you be happier, healthier? Would things happen that would attract? Well, let's talk about it. One of the things is that in this 90-day plan, we need to be able to understand what is it going to take on a regular basis for us to actually start achieving some of the goals that we've got and we've set for ourselves by using that current real estate market. Our whole concept here is that this is the best real estate market that we've been in the past 20, 30 years. And in order to be able to take advantage of it, it's simply going to be an action step. We've got to jump in. The other part about it is that we need to understand that our businesses need to be flexible enough so that we can actually achieve some of the goals that we've got, but more importantly, we need to be effective in delivering the scripts to the buyers, delivering the scripts to the sellers, keeping the deal together until it closes, structuring the deal. How would your life change if you could just bring in an additional $5,000 a month? I know that that sounds awful large to some of you, but what about just even $2,000 a month? Well, here is the opportunity that we're talking about. What we want to do is, first, let me talk to you about a little bit about Rock. He started his business as a wholesaler, and Rock learns through paying people what they're worth to get what he wants. He actively goes out and seeks information that is the greatest value. And the thing about it is that he's willing to pay a tremendous amount to get that education. The other thing is that he takes that information and not only does the wholesale, the buy, fix, and sell, raise capital, but he brings it to the people that he trains in a cutting edge experience, because he distills down what the gurus say into a simple, easy to understand, step-by-step process. What happens is that when he does this, he brings in a combination of not only the philosophy of the guru, but because he is on the street on a regular basis, he brings in that street knowledge, combines them, and brings in a very simple pattern. Now, one of the great things about it is that he is willing to pay other people for his education, and he does not enjoy going to the school of hard knocks. And he is willing to take those very complex concepts and bring them down. And he's able to get the best possible information. Now, many of you have taken different courses from Rock. What was your experience? Does he come in and give you a dynamic presentation? Does he come in and give you more than you expected? Do you walk out with more than you expected? Do you walk out with your head swimming? Do you walk out with a complete package? And the answer is yes. That's what Rock and I are all about. And we also want to make sure that the events that you attend, that you get paid in a value that is far exceeds the money that you have given us. So let's talk about some of the accomplishments that Rock has. He's trained over 1,000 people. He has also bought and sold over 500 properties. He's been in management since the age of 12. He has been doing wholesale, owner financing, lease option, contract for deed. He does deals locally, and he also does them in other states. Rock is married and has 2 kids. One of his children is on a Olympic path in soccer. Here's the thing. He came to America in 1989. He is one of 7 children, and they only had $700 in their pocket. Rock was the only one who spoke English. The funny thing about it was the only thing he spoke was hello, goodbye, numbers, and the ABCs. That's it. Now, you've got to understand that here is 9 people coming to the US and starting from scratch. And so what happened is Rock learned early to manage people because his father was incarcerated when he was in Afghanistan as a political prisoner. But Rock and his family have overcome that, and he is a leader in the community. Now, let's talk just a little bit about me. A lot of you have taken courses from me, and what is my first line when I come out? It's, I want you to be wealthy. And do you believe that I honestly want you to be wealthy? And the answer is you should, because the ability to become wealthy with the plans that we have devised is very simple. The other part about it is did you feel like you got a great value for the money that you paid? I'm sure that you did. We have up-to-date brochures and up-to-date training material. We use nothing but the best in adult education. Life is good. So let's talk about, my background is I started out as a landlord. I had been doing it for a number of years, and then I went into wholesale, buy, fix, and sell, and bought notes. I didn't get my formal education because they didn't have that when I was in the business. I have been in the real estate business for 30 years. 15 years of that happens to be in the area of property management, rentals, and building that. I also happen to be a mentor for Russ Whitney and Robert Kiyosaki. I have traveled the contiguous 48 states, and the thing about it is that I have been able to see different economies, how in different states. Each one has different rules. But understand that typically I had done it through the School of Hard Knocks until the last 15 years. And that's when I decided I would get mentors. These are some of the mentors that I have. I can pick up the phone at any time and reach out to them and say, hey, I got this problem, help me. And what will happen is that they're more than glad to help. And these are some of the people that are on the street on a regular basis. They are participating in the real estate business. So the whole idea is that Rock and I both believe in continuing education and getting the best possible that we can. The great thing is that the system that we're going to be presenting to you tonight has made a difference in lots of people's lives, not only in the people that I've trained, but in the people that Rock have trained. I have created 7 millionaires that I'm aware of, and Rock has definitely created business people that are extremely successful. Here's the thing that you want to get. The information that we are going to provide for you and to you is one that is going to allow you to get your business jet started. Now, I want you to understand that I have gone to that School of Hard Knocks more than once, and I have suffered a lot of financial setbacks. But here's the key. Every time I go and get a financial setback, what I do is I get up, dust myself off, learn something new, evaluate what went right, and then what can I change to make things better? So what needs to happen in your life? What needs to happen in your life so that you can start really achieving some of the wonderful things that you had? I want you to think back when you got really excited about getting out of bed in the morning and you didn't even need an alarm clock. What was it that got you excited that day? What was it that you happened to get really excited about? The idea here is that you need to become passionate in the area of creating wealth and success. What we want to do is figure out how we can get you to that level. Now, what we want to do is what is it going to take for you to feel wealthy? What is it going to take for you to be very excited about where you're going? Well, the other part about it is that in my case, one of the ways that I started to feel wealthy is I added an additional 5% onto the tips that I give the servers when I go out to the restaurants. What do you need? Cash flow, or do you need long-term income? Do you need a retirement program? What needs to happen in your life in order to have a better marketing program? Each one of these is tied together. So that way you will start to succeed and start earning the dollars that you've set up for yourself. Think about this. If you had more control in your life as far as your time, as far as what you did, would you feel much better? What will it take in order for you to get the dreams that you desire? How will you ever know that you're there? How much money do you need? Well, we need to talk about that. Part of what we're doing is allowing you to win. Through better planning, what happens is that your job, your life becomes so much easier. You'll be respected in the community. You'll feel like you're succeeding. The environment will be very safe. You will be able to start really enjoying your life and understanding some of the things that are happening that are very positive. What we want to do is set up your system so that you feel so much better in your life and what happens in your life. To know that your life is worthwhile because you're now paying your bills in advance. You're moving yourself forward in such a dynamic way that you feel really good about some of the things that are happening. Here's what we want to do. We want you to figure out what are the easiest ways for you to make sure that your life is worthwhile. Who are your friends? And think of this. If your friends are a bunch of deadbeats that can't afford to put two nickels together, then what happens is that more than likely you're going to get the fleas. So if you happen to surround yourself with individuals that happen to be very successful, they are buying new cars, they're successful in business, they have a positive attitude, they dress for success, their personal relationships are in great condition, then guess what? There's a good opportunity for you to achieve that very same thing. And that's what we want you to realize. For you to be able to grow financially, you need to be able to surround yourself with winners, with people that are actually doing it, not just the people talking about it. The great news about real estate, and part of the reason that I enjoy it, is that you are able to do something new every day. And for example, like turning on the water, renting out property, working with contractors, these are all very positive things. And when you do that, you're employing people. And when you employ people and you pay people what they're worth, what happens is that your life goes a lot easier because you will be bringing in a huge mass of people and energy and momentum that's going to carry you through some of the areas. Think of this. When was the last time you went on a vacation? I mean, a really nice vacation. One where you were 5 days, no phones, nothing. What would your life be like in order to have that? How much money would you need to have coming into your household every month to allow you to feel like you are doing something? I love this quote right here. My life is so much more interesting inside my head. We create our own problems. We create our own lifestyles. We bring in people in our lives that cause us distress, and we run the people that we love off. What I'm trying to express to you here is that we need to take some responsibility and look at what our focus is. If we're focusing on love and our family members, and they will respect us for that. If they aren't respecting us for that, are we really acting like the head of the household? Are we really acting like a partner? Well, we need to be looking at all of that. What would it need to happen in your life to have your family talking to you respectfully rather than saying talk to the hand or rolling their eyes? How do you build that loving family? Well, understand that if you're the breadwinner and you're bringing in the money, what will happen is that your life is going to look so much better because you're learning, you're getting an education, and your spiritual life is going to be much more in line with your values and your morals. And when that happens, your life is going to just take off. So what we want to do is understand that in order for you to feel wealthy, do you need that cash flow? Well, how much? Do you feel that you need to have coming into the household every month an extra $5,000, an extra $10,000, an extra 20,000? How many rental properties do you need to have in order to be able to feel wealthy? How many people and how much money do you need to have coming in order for you to start donating to charity and start improving other people's lives? Think about that just for a moment. What would it be like if you were able to donate a tremendous amount of money each year in order to increase somebody else's life and build somebody else's life? So let's talk about this. Why are you here? Why are you listening to this webinar? Is it because you want to pay off your credit cards, or is it because you actually hate your job? Well, understand that I used to hate my job. And one thing that happened is that I had just gotten started in real estate. And I thought that what I would do is I would buy the house across the street from my boss. I would buy the houses on both sides of my boss, and then I would buy the house behind my boss and just destroy my boss's property value and create havoc in their life. And then what happened is I got a new perspective. I decided that I would rather get a higher rate of return rather than destroying somebody's life. Let's go ahead and employ people. Let's go ahead and start building the community. And what happens is this: your life gets so much better. It was a fantasy, but what I learned is I can fantasize, but I shouldn't be taking action when I'm degrading and taking away from other people. A lot of people do not have a retirement program. Day in and day out, I see figures in the Wall Street Journal where people just are not contributing. You can contribute very quickly with a 401k, self-directed IRA, and start to have that ability to feel comfortable when you retire. I know a lot of you are going to want to be paying off the credit cards, and I think that getting out of debt is very, very important. Being out of debt makes it so much easier. This happens to be one of my first daughter, and she is graduating. Notice the tassels on her shirt, on her gown. Those are because she graduated with honors. See that medal that's around her neck? That shows that she graduated magna cum laude. This is a smart cookie. And I was very happy to be able to put her through so that she didn't have to have debt when she got out of school. The younger one just recently graduated from Emory Nursing School. And both of them had scholarships, and both of them graduated with honors. You know, I love to travel. I enjoy traveling. I like to go to foreign places and eat the food, meet the people, and come out with a great set of stories. There's probably some of you on this call that are looking for a new boat. Yes, a new boat is definitely something that is a boatload of fun. What about a new Harley Davidson? What about a camper? There's plenty of things that you can get once you start bringing in that little bit of extra income. What would get you excited about getting out of bed every morning with a smile on your face and your ability to go out and get new and continuing education and be able to buy real estate? What is it going to take? Well, let's talk about this. If you don't get your finances under control, what does it cost you personally? What does it cost your family? What we want to do is understand that it is real important that our family is a tight-knit unit, that it is one that functions. And I will tell you, yes, I am divorced. I am single. I do interact with my daughters on a regular basis. We have one day a week that we interact besides the phone calls in between. Here's the whole thing. When it comes time, how are you going to handle these problems? What happens when you go to the gas pump? Right now, gas prices are dropping. I am so excited. But understand that gas prices have been going up. When you pull up to the gas pump, do you bemoan the fact that you don't have enough money? Or are you worried about it? Well, let's just talk about how to solve those problems. Those problems can be solved by the proper right action. All right, so how do we as humans actually start solving problems? Do we do it by trial and error? Isn't that really a very painful way and it takes a long time? Isn't that called the school of hard knocks? That's where I am. All right. Don't we learn from our past experiences? How many of you know that putting your hand on a hot stove is not a really good idea? Or sticking a metal object into a outlet is not a good idea. You've learned from experience. Some of you have been dabbling in real estate that are on this call now. And what we want to do is start looking at how we are going to solve some of the problems. Isn't it a better way to learn from others? Doesn't wisdom come from learning from other people's mistakes? And let's talk about this. How do you know you're getting a real value versus a scam? There are plenty of places that you can go on the internet right now. And what will happen is that they will tell you how to do wholesale. They will tell you how to do all kinds of stuff. And in reality, they are sending you down the wrong path. Just by Googling doesn't mean that you're going to become a real estate professional. When you start hanging out with people that are on the street and doing it every day, that's when you become the real estate professional. The good news is that Rock and I use this system that we're going to be talking about in just a moment every day. That's how we earn our living. That's how we pay our bills, have air conditioner, don't go on vacations, are able to take our children with us. It is absolutely imperative that both Rock and I spend $5,000 a year on education. The reason why is we want to be really wise. We have focus and intent. And so we want to make sure that we spend that, because $5,000 is a boatload cheaper than some of the other educational school of hard knocks that I've gone to. I want you to know that Rock and I do the research on the professional gurus before we go. We know what we're getting involved with because we've got a roadmap. This roadmap is so clear to us that we know how much revenue is going to be coming into our household on a regular basis. More importantly, like that, if you had a plan that was guaranteed not to fail or your money back, would you take it? Some of you wouldn't. Some of you will. Well, when Rock and I go and spend $5,000, what's in it for you? Well, the whole thing is that it allows you to reduce your stress because you know you're getting quality information. More importantly, you're going to be able to do a lot more deals because we're going to show you tools and techniques for creative financing, for deal structuring, in order to be able to not leave money on the table. Understand that when you are doing deals, people will come up to you and start talking to you about how to do more deals. They will bring you deals. They will soon learn some of the systems that you now were going to learn. All right. The thing that I've noticed with the people that I work with is that they've got a few deals coming across their table every day, and they're trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. Well, they fret, they worry, and they can't tell a deal from a dud. So here it is. When you understand the marketing machine that Rock and I are going to present to you, what will happen is you're going to have 3 to 5 deals coming across your table every day, and you're not going to fret over the duds. What's going to happen is you're going to be able to sniff out a deal rather rapidly because you're going to have to. With that many deals coming across your desk, you're going to have to really figure it out. And I've noticed that when I have more deals coming across my table, I'm able to find deals faster and I'm leaving less money on the table. The other pleasant thing is that people will know you as a go-to person. And when you are that go-to person, they will bring you the deals because they know they're going to get paid. Well, think of this. How magical it would be to be able to learn how to negotiate. How magical would it be to be able to open up and know that you're going to have a deal at least once a month? Real estate is a people business. That's what we want you to get. Rock and I are very big proponents of building relationships with other individuals, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So let me ask you, you've seen this before, you've heard it before. What is it that you need? Is this you? You have no credit, you have no money, you don't like to do repairs, you don't like tenants, you don't like toilets. Here it is. Here is the system that we want you to get. It's going to happen on October 25th. That's this coming up weekend. And it is a real estate 101 workshop. You're going to wind up with a manual. You're going to understand how to negotiate with the sellers, with the buyers. You're going to have learn how to create a marketing machine and get those results that we've been talking about. All right. Now, if this guy on the screen right now, if he can do it, anybody can do it. Anybody can do real estate as long as they have a solid plan and a solid direction that they can go. I just can't tell you how many times I have been told that the things that I do are illegal. Well, I don't do anything illegal. Let's just get that right out there. They ask, well, do you have to have a real estate license to do that? And, you know, these are people that are in the industry. I have realtors that tell me I can't do this. Well, it's because they don't know that you can do it because they've never taken any of this. So I want to say to you that you can be blind, you can be broke, you can have 3 children under the age of 4, you can be a quadriplegic, you can have no real estate license, no savings, and no credit, and still buy and sell real estate every month. Right now is a killer time to be involved in real estate, the best since the Great Depression. And if you're going to make a fortune now and leave it as a legacy for your children, then what needs to happen is you can recoup all of your losses in the next 5 years through the vehicle of buying and selling real estate. This is exciting stuff. You should be on fire. Now, we're not asking you to get into this blindly. We will hold your hand. There is no reason for you to get involved in anything that you do not understand. I have people calling me all the time saying, Russ, do you want to invest in an oil rig? Do you want to invest in gold and minerals? And do you want to buy a mine? Do you want to invest in coins? And it's kind of like, I don't understand that. So I'm not going to do that because I don't understand how you can get burned. In real estate, yeah, I've been down that and I know exactly how things work. And I'm excited by it. You know, the thing of it is that without the right kind of knowledge and the action points behind that knowledge, you'll never start. And we give you both in this process. And that's why we are just so excited about where things are going and how things work. So what we want to talk about is here is some of the ways and some of the things that you're going to learn and get in the up and coming training that's coming up. You're going to learn how to find 7 ways to find an unlimited number of deals. You're going to find the ways that make money in real estate right now. And I'm going to give you one right now since you're listening. Wholesale and lease option. You're going to understand how to contract the sellers and put together a really good script. I just recently started to collect phone numbers of other investors that have not continued in their education and they're out on the street and they're fumbling and bumbling. The reason that I want to bring in those phone numbers is to allow you to build your self-confidence so that if they can do it, you can do it. And that's what it's all about. Identifying the buyers in your referral base, understand that the bandit signs that say we buy houses, how to do reverse lookups, these are all just really important things. The thing about it is that this up and coming training, what is it going to do for you? It's going to give you a solid plan. It's going to give you step-by-step action points. What's going to happen is you'll build your confidence. It will reinforce some of the knowledge. Some of you on this call have already bought and sold a number of pieces of real estate. And guess what? You can still do that, and it will be an exciting time because you will learn something. How about this? Just reduce your risk every time you do a deal. At the beginning of this particular month, what I did was a real estate deal on the hood of a car. What that means is I didn't use any attorneys. I paid $6,000 in order to be able to buy this house. I had the warranty deed, everything all put together. Now, how and why can I do that? because I've been in the real estate business and I understand exactly how to do a title. I understand all the pitfalls. I was able to research the title and understand that what happened was they had two liens. You know, if I didn't know how to research title, I would have had a $4,000 cost overrun. That is not in my budget. So I know how to do this stuff. And I'm not going to train you on that. I'm going to allow you to be in a relationship with me that I can show you later on. All right. Why don't we have a plan in real estate? You know, one that's real, one that is really simple, one that pretty much anybody can do. Well, is it because we get caught up in our own little mindset? Well, sometimes that happens, and we can break through that. We can punch through that particular mess and really start to hone in on what we need to do in our real estate business. Think of what it would be like to have a step-by-step, easy to follow, something that you can understand the first time. But more importantly, it allows for the flexibility in your lifestyle. I can't tell you how many times the people that I've coached and trained and mentored have had too much life going on. There was a lot of drama in it. Here's the thing. If you have somebody that can walk into your life and start pointing out the areas that you need to improve upon, is that going to save you time, money, and allow you the flexibility in your schedule? And the answer is yes. Most importantly is that the system that we are going to be talking about works in every real estate market. Doesn't matter if it's in Atlanta, doesn't matter if it's in California, Ohio, New York, Florida, it all works. And that's what we want to talk about. So where are you? Where are you now? Do you have a lot more week than a paycheck? Are you underwater? Are you close to being thrown on the street? Well, what we want to do is have you really start to feel comfortable about progressing in the area of real estate. You know, do you have the money to be able to take care of all your monthly bills right now? How much more money do you need in order to be able to pay for unexpected life events? Like this morning, I had a car battery go down. Well, did I go, oh, I don't have enough money for my car battery? And let me tell you, this car battery, because of the kind of vehicle I drive, they're very excited about that battery. So how much money do you need to have in order to be able to start for a retirement or even retire? Are you saving for vacations? How many of you would like to be able to pay cash for Christmas? Are you saving for birthdays? How many of you are saving to have zero credit card debt? What would your life be like if you had zero credit card? Well, here's the thing. You cannot be in the middle of the road. You have to make some decisions. You know, you might have an aging spouse, aging parents, aging vehicle. You might be in a job that you hate. Well, here is what we need to do in order to start really feeling comfortable about where we're going in our lifetime. You know, how much stress is being caused in your life because of these unplanned events? You know, what can you do to start building the relationships with your children? You know, how many of you in the audience saw your children's first steps? They were precious. They were absolutely incredible. I saw mine. Rock saw his. I saw my kids take a few steps, crash and burn, and hit the coffee table and wind up with this massive hematoma on their head. It was great until the wife came home and I had to explain why the child had a large hematoma on their head. But anyhow, that's a different story. So we want to talk about some of the things that are going to just really make your life so much easier. So how important is it to have cash flow? What type of habits do we need to have in order to get better at the skills of real estate and getting paid on a regular basis? All right. Understand that Rock spends a tremendous amount of money on education, just as I do. All right. Understand that I've gotten away from the school of hard knocks. Which path do you want to take? Do you want to reduce your risk or increase your risk? You're going to pay for it now or you're going to pay for it later. But one way you're going to pay for it. You're going to either leave money on the table or the deal isn't going to work through. How many of you out here want to blaze a new path? Fail regularly. lose money, cry at night into your pillow. Huh? Huh? Or would you rather have an easy, simple plan that's focused, that's a step by step, where you start working towards clarity rather than confusion, where your self-esteem starts to improve and the relationships that you are involved with start to improve also? How would it work for you? But there's always a risk. Yes, there's a risk. Yeah, you're going to have to give up some of the habits that you currently have in order to be able to get some of the things that you're looking for. Here's the thing. There's going to need to be a place in your life for your success. Is it going to be your sleep time? Is it going to be your television time? Is it going to be your drive time? You know, we can talk about the 90-day program and the mindset of decreasing the amount of negativity that happens to be in your workplace, in your home life. And what we want to do is start getting rid of those dream stealers. We want to be able to prove our friends wrong, that we can make the money, that this isn't a scam. But part of it is that we've got to get rid of the negativity in our life. And one of the ways that we do that is through reading, affirmations, networking, calling, getting momentum, building up that momentum, and then continuing to do it. Here, consistency is a key to allowing you the greatest return on your money when you invest in your education in real estate. This is an exciting time. Get involved. All right, what about property acquisition methods? Let's talk about those. Here is 6 steps that are going to change your life when you follow them. The successful people, when their business starts to deteriorate, they go back to the basics. And the basics are, you are marketing. You are marketing yourself, your business, your skills, your mindset. You're marketing everything. Here's the thing. The 90-day action plan, it tells you exactly what needs to occur in a daily basis. So that way you develop a dominating monster marketing machine. Now, I'm sure that you have drank some really poor quality champagne. But the reason that you did was because they were marketing that it was some of the best champagne and made you feel great. So we need to be marketing to find sellers, to find buyers, and we need to be able to persuade them and negotiate with them so that everybody in the transaction wins. You know, when serious investors go to the one day, they receive scripts. When the serious investors go to the up and coming workshop, they're going to get and understand how to write contracts, do due diligence, have an exit strategy. The coaching program that Rock and I offer has the forms for lease option, wholesale, assignment, purchase and sale agreement, option agreements, non-compete, sandwich lease options. We have all these forms that we are readily able to give to you when you sign up for our coaching. Get this, we want you to succeed. Some of you out there are thinking, well, Russ and Rock are just going to train my competition. Look, the only competition you have is with the person that looks at you in the mirror, because you're going to talk to yourself in such a negative way. You're going to talk yourself right out of being able to pay off your credit cards, spend more time with your family, get to see your children's first steps. We always want to keep in the back of our mind the exit strategy. Many people do not understand how simple due diligence can be. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about when due diligence becomes a burden, like when it's out in the country, such as in Hampton. All right. It is the responsibility of the takeout buyer to do their own due diligence. Isn't that simple? You don't have to do it. Yeah, you need to figure out kind of sort of what a price is, and you might need to kind of sort of figure out what the repairs are, but we're going to show you how to be able to do the due diligence by letting somebody else that's bringing the money. All right, the exit strategy is extremely simple. The first 90 days, we're going to be talking only about wholesale, and that's the easiest exit strategy because you don't need to have a lot of cash. The creative part of real estate comes from experience and having coaches and individuals that'll hold your hand when you're uncertain about certain events in your life. We have subgroups through the Real Estate Investors Alliance. Those subgroups will help you with the training. There's the big meeting. There is the creative deal structuring. I love marketing. There are the ones that Aaron McGinnis has, where you can learn about rehabs. There's plenty of them around, and all you have to do is just take advantage of them, and your whole business will just skyrocket right out. Well, let's talk about those property acquisition. All right, this is the way that we create inventory. We can do it through evictions, go down to the county courthouse, go through all of the eviction records. There are some individuals that want to get out from underneath a property because they are tired of bad tenants. We're going to show you what it looks like when you go through to find gentrified neighborhoods. We're going to show you how to be able to find those distressed owners. And there are 9 different Ds that we are going to be talking about. And those 9 Ds are going to be extremely helpful in your strategy. So we want to find out those distressed owners. And one of the ways that we can do that is by learning what some of those are. And here's our 9 Ds. You can read them. They're right there. And the thing about it is that just because you know it doesn't mean that that you should be implementing it, and you should. There are different ways to access this information. Sometimes it's better to buy the database. Sometimes it's better for you to build your own database. So we'll be talking about that coming up. All right, so part of this action plan is to understand that when we market, we're going to have to be answering the phone. You just can't go out and start marketing and then not answer your phone. You've got to have that consistency. By having self-discipline and being able to take those steps, what will happen is your momentum will increase in the number of calls and the number of buys and the number of sales that you get in the next 90 days will be very consistent. Here are the steps. You market, you answer the phone, you negotiate with the sellers, you go out and you find those motivated sellers. I can't tell you how many times people bring a deal to me and they say, Russ, is this a deal? And I say, no, this is not a motivated seller. And you just saw from the 9 Ds what a motivated seller sounds like, looks like. All right. So what happens is that life is going to interfere with your progress. But if you understand what this step-by-step is, and you always go back to the basics, what will happen is your life is going to get so much better because you'll put the house under contract and then you'll sell it. All right, so think of this. Part of your wealth model is to build a system so where you can train others and have them bringing you the leads. More importantly, you're going to have people clamoring for your time, wanting to pick your brain and buy you lunch and find out how and why you are so successful. You'll even have sellers calling you because of your marketing, and you will never have to market or negotiate in the future. Now, I want you to understand you have to have a very solid business plan to do that, because I still market and I want to market because marketing is huge. When we have that consistency, what happens is that our life becomes so much better. We have the directions to follow, we have the roadmap to follow, we have the action plans to follow. Now, for those curious people, what typically happens is that they lose sight of what that plan is. Their focus becomes blurred. And what happens is that they lose and they never come back. Now, here's a 14-day process that is going to allow you to reevaluate where your mindset is so that you can stay on task. That mindset that you have right now is either going to create consistency, it's going to create clarity, or you might have chaos. And if it starts to go to chaos, what we need to do is reevaluate our mindset and get focused again. All right, so the reason that we get so excited about wholesale is that it is very simple. Now, let me ask you, what were some of the signs and what were some of the things that can get you very excited about the wholesale transaction? All right, first off, wholesaling takes less than 30 days. It's the fastest. I mean, I have been able to wholesale transactions in 7 days from the date that I get it till the date that it closes on the backside. All right. Now understand the only reason that things get slowed down is because of the title insurance, and the title has to be done. But get this, if you've got professionals, you can start paying down those credit cards, those school bills, those school loans, and start making money quickly and efficiently. We've talked about it. You don't need any credit because you're never ever going to own the house. All you're going to do is put the house under contract. And then from there, what's going to happen is you're going to liquidate it to a takeout buyer. So there's no need for any money coming out of your pocket except for cell phone service, copying, a computer, or access to email. Those are pretty much the things that you're going to be held responsible for, but the rest of it is fine. All right. So let's talk about those 4 F's, those 4 pillars that begin with F. The first one is you need to find it. We've already talked about it. You go out, you start marketing it, you can find them. The next thing you need to do is fund it. And funding it for a wholesaler means just going out and finding a takeout buyer. You can fix it and you can flip it. You know, if you're doing the wholesale, you don't even have to get stuck in that fix it mode. All right. The great news is that the map that we provide of how to do this is so specific and very easy to follow. And it does have that flexibility, so you can either be part-time or full-time. When you have that map, your focus will be narrowed down like a laser, and you will be unstoppable in the wholesale getting paid. The buyers will bring the money to the table, you get a check, and you start living out your dreams. Realize that the negative parts of the landlording never even enter the success picture that I've just described to you. Yep, you get paid at the closing table. And the great news is you don't have to deal with any of the negativity that goes along with the holding of property. So how can we put this plan of marketing, talking to sellers, well, answering the phone, talking to sellers, negotiating, talking to buyers, and putting that whole plan together? How can we do that? Well, we have to be able to understand some of the financial markets that are out there. We have to be able to understand that the real estate market is cyclical. You have to be able to get the right tools at the right time in order to be able to take advantage of every cycle in real estate. That's why right now the wholesale and lease option are the way to go. Now, there's plenty of people that are upside down. How would you like to learn not to leave money on the table and be able to work with people that are upside down? Understand that there are a certain number of people that are not deals, and the majority of the reason that they're not deals is because they're not motivated. And what we were going to talk about is how to find those motivated sellers. We're going to market like crazy, find those buyers, but here's a switch. There is a better way to get cash faster. Why not go out and find the buyer first, and then go out and find the houses that fill that buyer's what they're asking for. So here it is. Rock and I are your new buyers. Rock and I are purchasing properties on a monthly basis. There are some criteria. This is it. You can read it for yourself and make your own notes or take a photograph. The reason that this criteria is so important to us is that this is our business model. This is what we enjoy. More importantly, what happens is that if we don't like it, we can wholesale it to some others. We definitely have differences in price points due to the areas that the property is located. But the thing about it is the key is to have a great relationship between you and your wholesaler and your end buyer. And we also need to leave enough profit in the deal so everybody is able to leave happy. You know, you're definitely going to be running into those non-motivated sellers. And their whole thing is to squeeze every dollar out of the deal. Well, run away. What will happen is that everybody's got to leave happily. All right. So we've still got a few more deal criteria for the retail flips. And what we want you to do is take these down and start feeding them to Rock and I. And what will happen is that we will buy these properties from you. And what will happen is everybody will get paid. And that's exciting. Very exciting. All right. We will also want you to understand that we have the cash available to be able to do these. All right. Now, here is what's really exciting. This is the part that just absolutely amazes me. is that I'm giving you this information. I am telling you exactly what needs to happen in order for you to be able to actually start making money in the real estate business. You know, most people know already what's going on, you know, and we've already been talking about building the buyers list, building the sellers list, talking to the sellers, how to find them, how to create the inventory through probate, foreclosure, tax liens, gentrified neighborhoods, and phantom inventory. You know, by now you should have an idea of which area that you want to invest in or start marketing. Let's talk about it. You know, we need to be very specific about the steps that you're going to be taking that's going to allow you to start that monster marketing machine. And what we want to do is start creating that cash flow that you desire. Yeah, and just start right now. Pick up the phone, go through it. All right. Stephen Covey says start with the end in mind. That's what we want to do. The strategy is wholesale. What we want to do is take action steps to build that monster marketing machine. And once that's done, the phone will ring and then the money will stack up. You know, what we need to do is be specific. You need to understand how much money it takes to pay your bills, and you need to be specific. And understand that if you say, well, I just need 3 times my bills, that's not going to get you very far. And the reason why is as you earn more money, your bills increase. They just add zeros. The reason that your income grows is because your bills grow. Isn't that kind of neat? Yeah, so what we need to do is figure out how to get the bills decreased and then the profitability up. And oh, by the way, we need a strategy to keep that money away from the IRS. You know, having a solid strategy and a map is so incredibly important that if you're using an outdated map like Carlton Sheets, what will happen is you're not going to achieve your goals in a timely manner. When you step in and start working with Rock and I, what will happen is that you are going to start being more motivated. More importantly, you're going to plan your work and work your plan. We are going to demonstrate to you how easy it is to get analytics on this. And if your analytics aren't bringing in the calls, then we need to reevaluate and talk to the coach and talk to the mentor in order to be able to get back on the right track. Here's the question. Do you work well with others? Do you have a pleasant personality? Do you know how to build relationships? Well, that's very important. And the reason is that when that happens, we will then be able to really start making things happen in our lives. What will happen is that blueprint, that roadmap is the winner's edge to success. The next step, of course, is taking action. And that means being energized so that you follow through. You want to be less stressed. You want to think clearly. You want to be relaxed. Well, each one of these will actually happen when we start doing the right kind of steps. How many of you out here say to people, oh, why don't we get together next week? And then you don't call them back. Or let me call you back and I'll make you an offer, and you never ever call back. Well, right there, you're lying to yourself. You're not lying to them. You're lying to yourself. And we want to work with people who value their word and are self-motivating. Well, do you have that plan? Are you developing that plan? A lot of people just fail to plan. What has happened is that if you're looking for somebody to give you a wake-up call, then you are destined to fail. It's those individuals that are so excited about their life that what happens is they jump out of bed. You know, here are the steps. What we need to do is right here. And we need to plan our work. We need to get out there. We need to keep track of the number of phone calls that we make. So that way we can figure out if we're getting and improving and being able to get those hot deals, or whether or not we're slipping and we might need some better negotiations, some better phone skills, some better people skills. You know, do we need to practice the scripts? There's some people out here that enjoy flying by the seat of their pants, and they don't understand the difference between personality types, and they don't plan their work, and they just fly by. Well, what we're talking about here is consistency and momentum. What we want is to get a cash flow that's coming in that we can hang our hat on so that we can go out and buy another house. All right. Through emotional control, we will be able to work well with others. By us taking the necessary steps to keep our emotions under control, we will become less stressed and we will start thinking clearly. We'll be more relaxed and we're actually going to enjoy the business. The easiest ways for me personally to remain calm when everybody else is losing their head is to call on my mentors and coaches. That's right. I call them up and I ask them for the answers and they give them to me. You know, I got tired a number of years ago of not having the answers. And what happened is I went online. I researched the problem. This took valuable time and money. And I also realized that the internet doesn't give you quite the same answers. They're not correct. They're not correct 100% of the time. But I also found out that if I tapped into some of the relationships that I had, then I could easily overcome these problems. When we do it routinely, this creates momentum. When we value our own words and we focus on this consistency, what happens is that the school of hard knocks falls away and the new rules for you to be able to achieve are installed. You know, when I was in school, what happened was I was an excellent student because I knew what the ropes were. I knew that you had to go to school. I knew you had to sit in class. I knew you had to have homework. All the rules were outlined. Well, here's the crazy thing about it is when you're self-employed, there are no rules. There is nobody going to tell you to get up and get out of bed except for you. There's nobody going to tell you that you have to be at a certain place at a certain time except for you. No one tells you how many houses you need to have an inventory and how many letters you need to send out and how many phone calls you need to make. However, if you get a coach or a mentor, they know exactly how many calls to make and they understand how to start putting everything on autopilot so that your life becomes easier. Well, you know, do you have a plan? Do you have a blueprint? You know, this is pretty exciting stuff. You need to check out your physical location of where you're going to be marketing. We've already talked about that the wholesale is the easiest because you don't need cash or credit. We talked about where you go to look for the seller's list and how to build a buyer's list. But I want to give you another hint on the buyer's list. Put an ad that says that you've got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Decatur for $50,000. The phone will ring. You take down their name, their contact. You've got yourself working on a buyer's list. Is that you're going to spend a lot of time searching the internet. Those motivated sellers. Well, I want you to know that there's a scraper out here that will help you do this. And when you come on Saturday, we're going to demonstrate how powerful that actually is. Now, the reason why that your marketing doesn't work is your message doesn't hit an emotional chord with your audience, or you have the wrong audience and they don't need your skills or services. But understand that when you're looking at Craigslist and you're going down those ads, if that person happens to have 27 different photographs with circles and arrows, and then they have this big long blurb down at the bottom, what that is telling you is that that is a non-motivated seller. Of course, this isn't 100% of the time, but it does give you a good handle on things. If the seller just has a couple of lines and then a price and then just has one photograph, that right there is an individual that doesn't understand marketing and probably isn't getting a whole lot of calls. All right. So you will have a plan when you walk out on Saturday. You will have a definite idea of how you're going to be contacting your sellers. Yes, doing it by phone is the fastest way to do it, but it is also the most time consuming. You might want to be hiring a VA. All right. The money will follow. All right. We need to be contacting 20 owners a day. This is your plan. These are your action statements. Well, what will happen is that you're going to wind up with 10 opportunities. We will go ahead and do the research on those 10, and we're going to make offers on all 10, no matter how ridiculous everything is. And the reason why is that you're spending the time, the effort in order to start your business and get your business growing. So what we want to do is allow you that success. All right. So when we are working on this, we want to negotiate before we even see the property. And by using a couple of real short scripts, what will happen is you will be able to do that. All right. The other thing that you've got to realize is that you don't call them every day at the same time. You don't call your sellers every day at the same time, or your buyers. And let's just say that you call them at 9 o'clock in the morning, or you call them at 1 o'clock, or you call them after 5. Well, everybody is stuck in their routine. And if that person doesn't get out of bed to go to work, they're 9 to 5, or they get up early in order to beat the traffic, well, what happens is that they're going to be gone. So we need to stagger. On Monday, we call it 9. On Tuesday, we call it 1. On Wednesday, we call after 5. You build this system. And the idea is that you have a 30-day fallback where you take all of this information, and if you don't talk to the person, then you put it in a file folder and wait 30 days. And then what will happen is that person will be a lot more motivated, or they may need to go back in the file folder. All right. Now, what is it that you want? Do you want cash? You want the diamond bracelet? You want the Mercedes-Benz? Well, it's important to understand that we have to have kind of a handle on that, because without a handle, our life with a blueprint is pretty much lost. All right. It boils down to what you want is your why. And you have to have a big why. And if you're looking to get out of a dead-end job, that's a major why. And that's great. If you're looking to get out of debt of credit cards, that's a major why. But you've got to put the action steps behind it. Understand that real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It takes a lot of effort, and it is a slow-moving turtle. But the great news is that after you get through that learning curve, you will start to see the fruits of your labor. The only way to do it faster is either by getting a coach or partnershiping with somebody that really knows what the system is and has it already in place and have it already functioning. Now, understand that either way you go, you're going to have to pay for that education, that experience, and that expertise. It's up to you. Which way do you want to go? How do you want to start tracking it? What is the best benefit? All right. So here are some of the things of what we need to know and what you need to know about marketing. You need to have a marketing campaign. Marketing campaign can be postcards, can be using a scraper. It can be using phone numbers. It can be flyers. There's lots of different ways to be able to do this marketing. And what we are looking to do is focus in on a particular area. If we do not do our marketing consistently, we will have no momentum. If we have no momentum, nobody is going to give us a call. And what we want to do is get those calls coming in. And it doesn't matter if it's in a newspaper, postcards, emails, letters, whatever. But understand who is your audience. If you're going into a gentrified neighborhood, newspaper is a good opportunity. However, if you're going to be going into the condo market that's in Buckhead, then what you're going to do is want to use websites. You want to use email blasts. You want to use text. It's the way that they get their information is where you need to be in order to give them the information that you are a ready, willing, and able buyer, and that you want to be able to buy their home. What we want to do is figure out what words to use to get their attention. And the way that we do that is we look at who our buyer is. What are their interests? And then what happens is that we use those exact same words. All right, so what we're looking at is we need to start reading other wholesalers, other real estate investors' marketing materials. You know, a good coach is going to have plenty of marketing materials that they've used, and they're going to be able to tell you the good stuff versus the bad stuff. And, you know, if you don't have a coach that does have those marketing materials, you might be wanting to look at a new coach. So understand your budget and stick to the budget every month. That consistency of getting that information out there is absolutely imperative. Making the phone ring. We're going to show you 7 ways to find 7 great deals in 7 days. If you're spending $500 a month on marketing, the chances are extremely high that you should be able to do one wholesale deal. You know, we're not talking the past where that business model is not being used. We're talking about cutting edge stuff, and we need to talk about how you have the end in mind. Well, the scripts that we give you, the forms that we give you are going to help you be able to increase the cash. And the other part about it is that when you start talking to your buyers and building your buyers list, you need to find out if they're cash buyers or whether or not they need financing. And more importantly, what are the things that they're really looking for? Are they looking for cash flow at a certain rate? Are they looking for chunks of cash? Are they looking at the return on investment? So we need to be fine-tuning how we screen these individuals. There was a time in my career when my business, my rental business, started to crash because I only asked 4 questions when I was talking to a seller. I wasn't developing rapport. And then what happened is that I took a seminar. And from that seminar, I realized that I have to butter up the individuals, have a conversation with them, and do build rapport. And when I've got that, bingo, we now have a person that I can work with and that I can give them a great opportunity. I can make some money and the takeout buyer can make some money. All right, we need to understand how are we building our buying system. Well, we've got to answer the phone, we've got to capture their phone numbers, and then we've got to fill in that lead sheet. Very simple. All right. Now you can go out and buy that, or you can use one from a database, from a website that you purchased. All right, I want you to think back when you had an automobile and you were just starting to learn about that automobile. It was confusing. You didn't know how many times you had to tweak the rear view mirror before you got it right. You were kind of sketchy on the brakes. Well, what happens here is that you use the same set of skills to work in real estate. It's repetition, it's practice over and over. The other thing is about these lead sheets is that you got to be able to tell where the money is going. You need to know what you're buying. You need to know what the value is by doing the comparables. And you also need to know what the expenses are, such as homeowners association, repairs, taxes, liens, and judgments. And then what happens is you send that lead sheet to Rock or I, and we troubleshoot it and tell you exactly how to buy that. All right, right here, just to follow up to what I just said, you run the comps, you do the due diligence as far as what the area values are, and then follow up. This is a good thing. All right, so we want to talk a little bit about the wholesale. We want to be able to find buyers with cash. I'm not excited about people that have to go through a bank in order to get the funding. All right, so what we're looking for is to be able to really jumpstart our business. We want to be able to structure the deal, and we can structure it if we are able to get owner financing, a subject to, or a lease option. Yeah, we have to get that contract signed. And oh, by the way, it has to be signed by everybody that has an interest in that piece of real estate. And the great news is that you follow up with people, you're going to get a lot more. And then what we do is we just repeat this system over and over and over again. When my business starts to slip, all I have to do is go to this material that I'm reading off of, and what will happen is I get right back on track. And that is so exciting. Well, what's happening? Well, let's talk about it. On October 5th, 25th, this is Saturday, we're having an all-day event. In that all-day event, what's going to occur is that we are going to be talking about whether or not you know a deal from a dud, how to get 7 deals in 7 days. You're going to get information, and you're going to get a 25-page handout. You're going to be able to network. You're going to be able to increase your vocabulary. What's going to happen is that you're going to feel a lot more comfortable about the real estate game, and your life depends on it. All right, now it's only $97, and for your spouse, it's $49.97. All you have to do is go to rheiner.com and under services, sign up. You will not regret it because you are going to get a lot more information than the $97. All right, so in November, on November 20th, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're going to have a 3-day event. It's going to be the Ugly House Boot Camp. What we're going to do is find 12 ways to find cash buyers. We're going to do hands-on classwork the first day. Then we're going to go out to the field and do hands-on in the field. We're going to show you how to find properties, and we're also going to tell you how to evaluate them and know that they are good deals or duds within minutes. And we're going to show you 5 different ways that you can double close. How many of you have ever thought about different ways to be able to double close? It's amazing. All right, again, still talking about November 20th, 21st, 22nd. You're going to learn how to negotiate. You're going to get contracts. You're going to know how to make it win-win for everyone. Okay, what types of properties to avoid, what type of properties to put in your portfolio. And we're also going to be talking to a list of properties, probably 800, and of active investors, and they're going to want to pick your brain after this particular event. All right, so what you're going to learn is from 2 experts. Rock and I have been in the real estate game for over 50 years, and we want you to get paid in the next 30 days. And we will definitely show you techniques and put tools in your tool belt on how to find people. The other thing is how to keep the more money coming to you. And that is understanding the difference between commercial real estate, putting it in trust, the typical way most people do, which is to take title in their name. We're going to be practicing the scripts. We're going to be estimating repairs. You're going to get a top to bottom, front to back, easy to understand process. The other thing I want to talk about is the step-by-step 90-day action plan. What we're talking about here is that you are going to have the skills to be able to manage a rooster and still have time to be able to spend with your family. The way this thing is set up is that you are going to go to the website. You're going to sign up for the 90-day. You will get a business already planned. You will have the instruction manual, and then you can begin and really start getting a payback within 90 days. There's also a free 1-hour consulting with Russ or myself or Rock. And what we want to do is talk to you a little bit about what is your relationship with money. How did you find us? The other part of it is that if you want us to handle it, we will be glad to. All right, so what we want to do is we want to go back. We want to figure out how we can be a success in real estate. What is it going to take that we can actually muster up and begin to really take leaps and bounds so that the money just starts to flow to us? It can happen. That's the exciting part about this. It can happen. And one of the other really exciting things is that when it does happen, you'll be ready. And when it does happen, it's going to happen fast. So let's talk about this. Where are you? If you're interested in a complete top to bottom and have paperwork, then on Friday you'll want to come, and it will probably be out at Dustin's office out in Suwanee. Now, some of you are like, oh man, that's just too far to drive. So what you're telling me is that you are going to let one thing stand between you and your success. You're going to sit there and watch TV and eat bonbons, and what's going to happen to your life? It typically will go right in the toilet. So what I'm offering you is a reprieve. Go ahead, go now to www.rheiner.com and sign up for the product of coaching. Are there any questions at this point? Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank you for spending time with me. I am sure that you did get some information that was extremely beneficial to you. I feel that the place where we could stand a little bit more is in the different venues that we go to, and whether or not we have business cards and we're passing those business cards out, or whether or not we're just hanging on to them. Rock and I are here. We want to give you that 1 hour coaching, and that's a bonus. And we also want you to come on Friday and let us not only entertain you, but give you the tools, tips, and techniques that you need in order to be able to make this real estate business worthwhile. Again, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate you coming, and I look forward to you signing up with either the lease or the the uh, the wholesale that is coming up this up and coming weekend. Have a great night. Thank you again.